Greetings, Musto0063 back for yet more Mega Man 5. And sometimes when you wake up and, let me stress, plan on playing a computer game, you just want to blow stuff up. Or at least I do. So let's go detonate Napalm Man. We start out with some awesome music, has to be said, in what looks like a jungle area, and get ambushed by a bunch of Sumatran, or robot tigers to you and me. They are quick moving and can be a complete and utter nuisance. You've already ruined a shot at an accidental perfect run, and possibly to date the quickest I've got hit in a Robot Master stage during these Let's Plays. Won't hold the record for long though. ... Now as you can see here, I take my sweet time about dropping down to a safe point in this tiger's jump pattern. I could have made my move much sooner, but I'd already figured I'd look like a bit of an idiot, so why not be uber careful and make sure I don't do it again. But just be prepared in this room to take out the higher of the two metal cannons when you land, and you should be fine. But this scrolling screen is full of spike missiles which travel in from the right hand side. As soon as you see one materialise, shoot to take it out. There's not really any specific need to hurry through this area, but I've always got in the habit of sliding to shorten the time I have to spend here. There's a free energy tank, which I don't really need, but I thought I'd at least demonstrate how you get it. And that brings us to an annoying screen with these enemies that when you land close to them shrink, so you can no longer take them out with a Mega Buster, if on the same level as them, and those bastards, the Apache Joes. Incredibly hard to hit thanks to their jerky movement and fast moving, and that makes them a lethal combination. Now this second Apache Joe we're about to see is probably best dealt with by sliding underneath him and hightailing up the ladder. You can stick around to try to kill him, but it's a bit tricky to pull off. And you're far too late, Eddie, I got hit already. And come on, after Stone Man, if there's one thing I don't need on this playthrough, it's any more extra lives. So meet Yudon. He stands there looking especially bulky, but he doesn't move and fires missiles at you that are slow moving and easy to hit. This second one, albeit with spikes to avoid landing on, is no more threatening, as long as you don't bother trying to move left or right. Pick a ledge and stay there until you take the thing out. Also, don't miss that lever end. A few metal cannons to deal with, well actually only one if you're not interested in the one-up, and suffering from a bout of amnesia is the only reason I can think of as to why on earth I stopped to get it. Now this screen is especially annoying if you're not prepared for it. Shoot the first missile, slide onto the second. Jump and shoot the third missile, twice in this case since I backtracked to avoid the shrapnel. Jump the fourth missile. Take out the power muscler, don't worry it should be able to reach the ledge you're standing on. Then here edge forward slowly. 2 or 3 depending on how far you edge forward, missiles should sail over your head. When they pass you, edge forward a little more and one last missile should appear, which you can easily jump. If you go into that area like a bull in a china shop and start shooting willy-nilly, odds are some shrapnel from an exploding missile will catch you completely off guard. Even if you go slowly, you still probably need to know what to expect in order to feel comfortable. And this last screen, watch out for the missiles. Your typical pit rising enemies that first time you play will catch you completely off guard, you'll smack into one and land straight in the pit. When you know they're there, of course they're easy to get by. And there isn't one in the very last pit, so don't bother hanging around waiting for one. That brings us to Napalm Man, and at first glance, while he can appear quite threatening, as with most Mega Man 5 Robot Masters, he isn't really. He has 2 methods of attack. First being to shoot 3 missiles horizontally at you. They fire in reasonably quick succession, so don't take dodging them for granted, but there's easy enough time to jump in between the first and second, third, and over the third to avoid them. His second is to fire a couple of napalm bombs in an arc, to explode upon impact with the ground, or Mega Man shouldn't collide with them. But it's pretty easy to determine the trajectory of the bombs, and jumping over them or sliding away from them is usually straightforward enough. Whichever move he does, Napalm will always jump before attacking again, but if anything, that's just a decent opportunity for you to get some hits in on him. And frankly, nothing he does ever seems quick or unpredictable enough to pose too much of a threat. Sorry Napalm, you blew it. Big time. I got Napalm Bomb, and unsurprisingly it's the bomb attack as opposed to the missile attack. It works similarly to how we saw Napalm use it, although it can travel along the ground before blowing up. So one kitty cat aside, not too much of a problem with the stage, right? Well no, but I have to confess, only after becoming quite familiar with it. run time, and problems up the wazoo right from the off, as evidenced by the Let's Play version. Most of these cats aren't too bad, you just need to know they're all there, especially that one. Obviously, having played the stage multiple times by this point, I learned to edge forward so as not to scroll the cat on screen while I was jumping over the spikes. Take that first screen with caution though, or the cat's liable to pounce on you before you even have time to react to it. I'm embarrassed to say there was one ridiculously clumsy outtake on this screen that the less said about the better. Thankfully none on this screen, and as said previously, as soon as you see a spiked missile, shoot it. So this screen was a giant pain, mainly thanks to the first Apache Joe. Gimme. My perfect run good luck charm at work once again. One thing I didn't mention in the Let's Play version is the water there does push you off to the side, so don't get caught out by that. Still, it's the Apache Joe that does the damage, either directly itself or in causing you to trip up elsewhere in trying so hard to avoid it. And as said, it seems better to avoid confrontation with the second one. And unfriend Eddie. So there's not much else in the screen other than the missile room of death that was anything like an issue. Multiple screw-ups there in terms of working out how to play things. Remember again, I didn't know practicing the stages before sitting down to attempt these perfect runs, what must be 4 years ago by now. That would make my difficulty analysis in terms of time spent and number of outtakes pretty meaningless. So while I knew there were going to be lots of missiles coming my way, it took a fair few goes to have the pattern completely in my mind. The one crucial point is that don't take that final pop too quick. If you scroll all 4 missiles on screen at once, have fun dodging that. So from this point onwards, no more outtakes, but I do have a little bit more to say about Napalm Man, so I'm not completely done with this perfect run through just yet. Okay, so this time I do a better job at getting Napalm stuck into more of a steady pattern. Incidentally, I'm not sure whether there is a limit to the number of times he can perform the missile attack in succession. He never even seems to do it more than twice before having to resort to the bombs. But there doesn't seem to be a limit on the number of times the bomb move comes out in succession though. And it also appears to be the move Napalm significantly favours if you're in close proximity to him. So as you can see there, a pattern. Bomb attack, jump over it, slide on the Napalm Man. And repeat ad nauseum. He did the missile attack far less often during this fight, I think because I stayed close to him, but I'm not sure it's definitive. So just be on the lookout for the missiles in case he decides to mix things up. So that was the hardest stage in the game to perfect run thus far, although that isn't really saying very much. And despite this, it still only took half an hour to get a successful perfect run. That did equate to a fair few more outtakes this time around though, 15 in total, but again none on the Robot Master. Clumsiness aside, it did feel like I needed to be quite familiar with the stage in order to get by unscathed. The kitty cats on the very first screen can be very annoying. The stage can feel like an ambush right off the bat, but slow and steady progress is the way to go here, in order to give yourself as much time as possible to react to the onslaught. The Apache Joe screen can be quite frantic, so you need to keep calm there. It also took me a few goes to appreciate the slide under the second Joe technique, making things a whole lot easier. And finally, the missile screen definitely requires some advanced knowledge of, or failing that, some lightning quick reflexes. Again, it's the slow progress approach that is best, so as not to scroll too many missiles on screen at once. And all things equal, I'd always prefer jumping them rather than shooting them, as the shrapnel is unpredictable, and I think it's best to just take that issue out of the equation. The Robot Master, while not being a pushover like Stone or Gyro for instance, is still pretty easy. Neither of his 2 attacks are sufficiently fast to catch you off guard, and if you can get him locked into the bomb attack pattern that I did as in the perfect run, you should be able to take any element of surprise away completely. 5 stages perfect run in less than 2 hours. my happy mood still showed no signs of being broken. I rate Napalm Man as a 3 out of 10. It's a number of outtakes that bump up the rating here, and mainly thanks to those 3 screens I've already talked about in some detail. The key thing, I'll say again, is familiarity. Once I knew how to get by things, they all of a sudden didn't seem so threatening. It took a little time and a few mess ups before I could be confident in doing so. Ultimately, not that much time, as only 30 minutes meant 3 out of 10 was about as high as I could go, but definitely in my opinion deserved a higher rating than Stone or Star. That's all for this time. Join me next time for another Robot Master stage. Who will it be? Well, I think that should be crystal clear. See you next time. Cheerio.